I'm Rick Jr. And today we're going to begin a series on the classic drum book N.A.R.D. So N.A.R.D stands for National Association of Rudimental Drummers. And back in 1933, several drummers got together at a convention and they started talking about the future of rudimental drumming. So at that time, there were not a lot of standard rudiments and they weren't printed in books like they are now commonly. So they decided at that convention on the first 13 rudiments, and the others came along as time passed. So this particular book, N.A.R.D, was written in the 1960s, and it's a collection of solos that were sent in of different members of that club. And someone told me recently that they've started up the N.A.R.D organization again, which I think is fantastic. So I'm going to look into that. Maybe I'll join. So William F. Ludwig was actually the secretary of that, sort of kind of ran the thing back then. And over the years, like I said, all these folks would contribute these solos. So it's an interesting book because there's lots of different takes on the rudimental style of those years. And of course, this style became the modern drum corps style over many years, obviously marching band as well. And also at the same time, you had innovators like Wilcoxon and Pratt and Scheinstein writing snare drum solos, two state-of-the-art solos. So none of those guys contributed to this association or this book, but they were there in the 40s and the 50s, and I'm sure they used this book and they were well aware of it. So this is a good place to start if you're a teacher and you have beginning rudimental students, because this book is not very difficult. You can play it at several different tempos. When you play things fast, like I did there, that was the first solo, Mr. Rudiments. I did it at quarter note equals 120. The solos become difficult physically, but counting-wise, rhythmically, they're not very difficult at all. And there's not a lot of odd meters or anything like that. But you do have to know your rudiments, you do have to know stickings, and you do have to have good technique to execute these things well. So it's something I've been using in my own teaching for years and years. The way I'm going to do these videos is each solo I'll do as a separate video, so they'll be short, and I'll do it at a couple different tempos. One fast, like I just did, and then we'll do it at a slower tempo, maybe 20 clicks under that. But just remember, you can always slow stuff down on YouTube with the slowdown feature that's in audio settings, so or video settings, really. So just try to do that with any video you see on YouTube. It's very helpful to be able to do that and to know about it. A lot of people don't know about it. Now, a few things we'll point out in this solo, and let's discuss the stickings as well. So in this particular book, unlike the Pratt book and the Wilcoxon books, there's no stickings written in. So those should follow the rudimental standard. In other words, if you look at Mr. Rudiments and you see that first line, you have a 5-stroke roll, which is obviously a double stroke roll like this. And then you have flams. Those flams should be alternated. That's the way you would do those in a rudimental style. And then the next measure, we have 16th notes with flams, and that would be a flam paradiddle. So that's how you would do that. So just, pay attention to the stickings that you know are the rudiments, even though they're not written in. Trickier things happen in the second line when you have this Rudiments. So the Rudiments sticking is this. It should alternate. And then he also has double Rudiments. So that part of that line is this. So you see there, that's the second and third line. I'm going to show some of this on the screen. Hopefully I won't get in trouble. So anyway, you need to be able to stick all of these as you should with all the rudimental stickings. Now, one thing you do want to maintain are the dynamic levels. So there's not a lot of dynamics in these solos. Some have a little bit of dynamics, but maybe on the second repeat you could play a little softer or a little louder. That's up to you, but you can be a little bit more musical with it. Also, all the drags and flams should be done very quietly, so don't come off the head too high on those grace notes. You see how low the grace notes are, and the main notes are much higher. So that's something you should always pay attention to. Also, like I always say, relax, use rebound, especially when you're playing these things slower. Rebound is your friend. So let the sticks bounce. Follow the sticks. Don't try to force things. Don't use your arms. Try to relax. The key to playing fast and clean is relaxation. As soon as you start seeing movement in your upper body or your mouth or here, then you're doing it wrong. So practice in front of a mirror with a metronome and make sure you're doing these things correctly. Otherwise, that can cause some damage and make you real stiff and tight, and you don't want that. So let's try this same one now, slower, at quarter note equals 94 or so. And I will put on the eighth note subdivision, which is a good thing to do when you're doing these slower. So we'll play it through like that. 1, 2, 1, 2. So that's a great tempo to do this if you're kind of an intermediate drummer or even a beginning drummer once you learn them. Now you can learn all these etudes in pieces. So you could learn one bar at a time, then put it together with the second bar, and then do it in 4-bar phrases and loop them. So the first 4 bars would sound like this, doing that. 1, 2, 1, 2. So again, over and over, and that's how you do these. Think of the rudiments as kind of words, all right? And you're putting those words into sentences and then paragraphs. So it's a way of writing. It's kind of a language, and that's how you want to approach this. So when you're playing them, you want to speak clearly, as I don't all the time, but you want to try to, play these very musically with a phrasing and a sound that grooves and, it's dynamic and it's clean. That's what you're looking for. And make sure you stay relaxed. So you'll see these videos pop up from time to time. As I have time, I'll record them. I'm eventually going to do the whole book. We'll have them all here, and I'll put them in a playlist. And we'll do one at a time at a couple different tempos. Sometimes I'll talk, sometimes I won't. Just particular things in an etude, I'll talk about that. But sometimes I'll just play them at 2 tempos. So I hope you enjoy this new series I'm going to do, and I'll keep doing all my other videos as well when I have time. And that's pretty much it. So take care, and we'll see you soon.